You ever notice how kids can turn literally anything into an adventure? A cardboard box? Boom! Instant spaceship. A puddle? Suddenly, they're Olympic-level long jumpers. Meanwhile, we, fully functioning tax-paying adults, need a six-figure salary, 3 months off, and possibly a spiritual awakening just to feel remotely okay. Something ain't adding up here. The math straight up isn't mathing. So let's explore this just a smidgen. But first, hi. Welcome to the Wolverine Lifestyle Podcast, where personal growth meets deep thought and introspection. I am your host, Dylan Andres, and today we're diving into a journal prompt that honestly called me out a little bit, and I did take it a smidgen personally. The prompt was, when was the last time you felt pure joy? And how can you invite more of that feeling into your life? Now, if your brain immediately went to joy, oh, you mean feeling productive? Well, then buckle up because this episode is for you. I will share my own experience, how I stumbled into this particular moment of joy by accident, and why, despite knowing better, I still fall into the same trap of overworking instead of living. And if that sounds like something you struggle with, stick around. We're unpacking why play isn't just a break from success. It's actually a necessary part of it. Oh, also, quick disclaimer. If you're the type of person who secretly resents people who always seem happy and carefree because you're out here grinding while they're out there living their best lives, I feel you. But let's talk about why that is too. Let's dive into this. All right, so here's the scene. I have a youth mentee and I decide to take him to an arcade. I figured it would be fun for him. You know, being a kid and all. But what I didn't expect, the second I walked in, I was hit with nostalgia. The lights, the sounds, the smell of cheap pizza, and childhood freedom. I was in it. And before I knew it, I was right there with them, going from game to game, genuinely competing, and, talking a little bit of smack over Buck Hunter like my life depended on it. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't thinking about my schedule, my to-do list, or the next thing I needed to accomplish. I was just there, fully present. It wasn't about the games. It was about the feeling. That carefree, nothing else matters feeling we all had as kids. That ability to be fully in the moment without checking our phones every 5 minutes. That joy that doesn't need to be earned. It just exists. When was the last time you felt that? And be honest. How long did it take before your brain tried to ruin it with guilt? Because that right there is where most of us get stuck. Me too, I understand. Here's the thing. The successful overthinker, you, me, my clients, maybe even the person next to you right now, we don't avoid play because we don't want to have fun. We avoid it because we've been conditioned to believe that success requires sacrifice. If we're not grinding, we're falling behind. And play is a distraction from our goals. And we don't even realize how deep this programming runs. Let's break this down into 2 common thought loops. The first one is the productivity guilt loop. Ever notice that when you do take a break, you can't actually relax? You're sitting on the couch, but your brain is like, should I be doing something productive? Maybe I'll just answer a few emails. Oh, look, a free webinar on optimizing my morning routine. Let me just... And boom, you're back in the cycle. Harvard Business Review did a study on overwork culture, and guess what? People who over-identify with their work, meaning their self-worth is directly tied to their productivity, struggle the most with guilt around rest. And if that sounds familiar, congrats! You're not lazy. You're just psychologically programmed for burnout. And the second thought loop is the hard work equals success myth. Growing up, how many times did we hear stuff like, work hard and you'll be successful? If you're not struggling, you're not growing. Grind now, enjoy later. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying hard work isn't important, but let's be real. If grinding was the only key to success, construction workers and teachers would be billionaires running the country. And here's another thought I want you to ponder on. How often do you find yourself choosing stress because relaxation feels irresponsible? At this point, we know play is essential. We understand it, but here's where it gets tricky. Knowing it isn't enough. We have to rewire our habits. We have to make play ritual, like a non-negotiable. Right now, we schedule everything. Meetings, workouts, even time to doom scroll. But when's the last time you scheduled joy? Lucky me, for myself, I realized I had a built-in accountability partner. My girlfriend, who loves to have fun. Even if she is a little bit of a sore loser at Mario Kart. So we made it a ritual. Weekly date nights was something we've never done before, trying new recipes out, saying yes to more experiences, or simply changing the way we look at our current obligations and try and shift it into some sort of fun. And of course, breaking out one of our old Nintendos so I may or may not can, kick her butt at Mario Kart again on a different console. The point of this, play has to be intentional, or it simply won't happen. To make this a little simpler for ourselves, we can reframe play into productivity. This is where science helps us out. Studies show that creativity increases by 50% after engaging in playful activities. Problem-solving skills improve when we take regular mental breaks. Happiness and overall success are higher in people who prioritize fun. The translation? Playing isn't a distraction from success. It's an accelerator. We have to call ourselves out. Old habits die hard. Even after years of coaching, I still catch myself slipping into the work harder mode. But that's the point. It's not about never falling back. It's about catching ourselves faster and choosing differently. Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. My challenge for you this week is to block out just one non-negotiable play session. No excuses. What's that going to be for you? So here's the takeaway. Play isn't extra. It's essential. Hustling without joy is just glorified self-punishment. We don't have to earn fun. We just have to allow it. As always, thank you for joining me on this episode of the Wolverine Lifestyle Podcast. If it resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might need it. It's the best way to get this message out there. And if your stamp of approval is on it, that's even better. And if you're ready to take a step further into your own self-exploration journey, grab my free ebook, 30 Days to Know Yourself. The link will be in the show notes along with all of the other links to the rest of my socials and resources. Until next time, remember, real achievement begins when we reclaim our joy. For it is in the art of play that the successful overthinker learns to transform productivity into fulfillment.